My name is Ben Relf. I'm an engineering manager in the data and AI team at NIB. NIB is a health fund and travel insurance company that looks after 1.5 million customers in the Australian and New Zealand region. At NIB, we use data for various purposes. We use it for personalisation, particularly, where it could be looking at health management plans for our customers, and as well as marketing campaigns and the like. So our data initiative product at the moment is around data modernization. The purpose of the data modernization project is to remove a lot of our legacy systems and bring that all into a centralized spot within Snowflake. We found that we actually had availability of a lot more data. So with that came its challenges, and data discoverability became a really big piece. So as we had more data, it was more difficult to actually find what data was accurate, what data was certified. Data discoverability became a much more difficult task sort of thing once we actually had more data stored within Snowflake. So we looked at data discoverability tools to actually make sure that we could actually find what the correct data was and make sure that users are using the right certified data sets. Our journey to Select Star was around some of that discoverability challenges around trying to find the right data and make sure that users were using the correct certified data sets. With Select Star, users can find data sets a lot more easily based on popularity, based off certification, and also about the ownership of that data. So if they have questions of it, they can actually look to get those answers from the data owners who know more about the data products that we provide. We did do a number of proof of concepts with various vendors, and we did have some challenges with getting set up. So a lot of the positives that we found with Select Star was really around the onboarding. The data was ingested very easily into Select Star. It also meant that users were actually really easily able to find the data. So we had really positive feedback from both the technical side in regards to getting set up onto Select Star, then also from the business users who quite very quickly actually found certified data products and provide us a lot of really positive feedback when we got started. The support was really good as well, so any questions were really quickly answered. One of the things that I did find was that column level lineage was like a real big game changer for the data and AI team, particularly when using on development and workflow and impact analysis. So we actually found that when we were doing development now, we actually could sort of notify the users of impending changes, particularly if we're finding actually the users. We could send notifications directly to the users that were going to be impacted on any of those breaking changes. Not only on the changes for Snowflake, but also on downstream reporting users as well. There's a two-way benefit for that. One from the developers in regards to seeing how their data is being used, and then also from a perspective of the business users, or our analysts, who are actually also can see where the data is, can see information about the data, can see the stakeholders, they can see the tests that have also been done. With our legacy data stack, we had a very confined storage space with an on-prem server. So we're about 25 times larger now than in Snowflake, and Select Star really helps there from a perspective of discoverability and having documentation. With extra data, it also means that we actually discoverability can become a lot more difficult. When we're changing models, the confidence that the developers can get has greatly increased. We can sort of see all the impacts that have happened all the way downstream through to the reporting lines. The confidence our users actually have with the team as well is increased because we're making those communications now. So we're doing less screen tests in regards to something breaking and then having to retrospectively go back and make changes. So we use DBT, and the documentation is really good. However, what we found is that our data sets are developed by multiple teams, and we actually have multiple repositories. So trying to bring all of that documentation into one easy to consume discoverable space is really difficult. So what Select Star has been able to do is ingest all of the documentation from all our different repositories and able to search across everything, which makes it really easy to find the data sets that we're looking for. We actually use the docsync function a lot. What it does allow is our business users to actually update the documentation within SelectStar, and the docsync feature creates a pull request which actually synchronizes it back to our source of the documentation, which actually lives in GitHub. SelectStar has been very beneficial in identifying objects that we actually no longer use. So they could be created for a purpose, but then things may have changed and that data is no longer relevant. So tying back to our data governance, it's really important that we don't actually store data which is actually no longer used. We've identified roughly 600 tables which actually aren't being used anymore. So we have an initiative to actually go through, make sure that we can decommission those ones up and keep our data landscape very clean. We're thinking about the documentation at the moment because it's also really good for finding if you have any gaps in your documentation. So finding those gaps and making sure that everything is actually properly documented is actually a really big initiative. So when you have so many objects and a lot of developers that are working on it, we actually found that we have identified where some documentation is actually is required.